at wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls. Welcome to the Best of Beaver County, presented by St. Barnabas, a weekly segment dedicated to putting the focus on the amazing things and the amazing people behind them in Beaver County. The Best of Beaver County is sponsored by and content is provided by St. Barnabas. The show airs every Thursday from 11 to 11:30 on WBVP, WMBA, 99.3 FM, and Facebook Live. Now, with no further ado, let's welcome host Mike Romai to introduce today's program.
This is the Best of Beaver County radio show. I'm Mike Romai on the St. Barnabas Radio Network. What we'd like to do on this program is to introduce you to people, business people who are making a difference in our community. And I really didn't have to look far for our guest this morning. His name is Mike Rubino. He's a Beaver County guy, but in looking at his bio, it's about 3 pages long because he's done so many things, but he remains loyal to Beaver County. From what I know of Mike over the years, he's loyal to family and loyal to the church. St. John's, you still a member of St. John's?
St. John's Church, but Mary Queen of Saints Parish.
That's right. They changed all that now.
Changed all that.
Yeah, and the reason I bring that up is because I saw on Facebook recently that you were promoting a carnival.
Yes, I was. My wife and I were part of the committee that put that on, and it was a 3-day event. Just finished this past Sunday. Very tired. It was a long time, but it worked out well, and it looks like we should hit our number and net just under $50,000 for the church.
You never stop fundraising, do you?
Never stop fundraising for somebody.
Yeah.
It would be nice to do it for myself once in a while, though.
But you're still out there. You just recently retired. How many years is it now?
No, it's been just
year?
one. Been one,
year?
yeah. So I'm out of hibernation. So thank you for getting me out of hibernation.
Yeah.
It's great to be in the new studios. I was in the old studios many, many, many times, and loved
cleaned
that.
up a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah. It's almost going from the Civic Arena to PPG Place. You know,
that sounds like a good analogy of it. When you're talking, Mike used to be, and I didn't mention this. You were the director of the United Way of Beaver County.
Correct. The last 9 years of my career.
Yeah, and when I read that it was 9 years, I thought it didn't seem like that long ago you took over that position.
Yeah, it went very quickly. You're busy. You're trying to make a difference. I took it over at a time where it was struggling a little bit. They were averaging about $600,000 a year for the charities in Beaver County, and the Lord gave me some talents, and I tried to use them and used every arrow in my quiver, and I was able to bring that average over $900,000 for the 8 or 9 years that I was there. So
you really turned it around.
People say that.
I know, no, you did. And I was astounded by the fact that you had such a small staff. So you were pretty much the guy who was out there making all the connections and asking these businesses for money.
Yeah, and the great thing is they give you money to go away. So I was just I was persistent enough that they would say, "Okay, take it. How much do you need?" So right. It worked out well. And Beaver County does respond. Neighbor helping neighbor. The community, the business community, the people of Beaver County. Once you can tell the story, and they understand the story, and they understand that in Beaver County, 38% of the people that live in Beaver County live under what they call and they're still pushing that very well with the United Way, the Ellis line, which is assets limited, income constrained, but employed. So the working poor and those in poverty equal 38% of Beaver County people. So they're living paycheck to paycheck. And then once something happens, somebody gets sick, they have to be off work for 2 or 3 weeks, they have a car that breaks down, a furnace that breaks, now they're going to need help from one of the local charities. And so that's what we had to tell that story, and my successor is doing a great job telling that story now.
How many people do you think that is? How many agencies do you fund through the United Way?
Well, we have partner agencies that, there's I think 17 that we give money to on a regular basis, but then at times we're able to how do I say, direct companies to other charities that need money and need help. So we're very, very happy. Was very happy to do that over the 9 years that I was there, and they continue to do that at the United Way. And very proud that we left it in good hands.
Yeah,
and
you should be.
And it's gonna be strong. And Beaver County needs that, but it's the people of Beaver County that continue to help each other. And
we went through some tumultuous times, and we're both Beaver County residents, natives, so we know this from the 80s and the steel industry collapse. There were big problems because a lot of the funding through the United Way came from these major manufacturers.
They did. I mean, we had 220,000 people in Beaver County when the steel mills were running. Now we're down to 164, 165, and I just saw an article that says by 2050 we're going to be down to 152,000.
Yeah.
And we have an aged population. 74%.
Speak for yourself. No, we're the same age, actually.
74% of the households in Beaver County have nobody under the age of 18.
Nobody
under the age of 18.
Well, we see some of these big buildings. You see them in Monaca. I see them coming through New Brighton, Beaver Falls, and all around us. And these big stately manors that we would think were mansions, that when people used to have 6, 10, 13 kids to fill those homes. Now they're single family homes.
Yes, they are. And, we have to figure out a way to, increase our population in Beaver County. And, the tax base just can't ride on the backs of senior citizens.
For sure. Property tax has always been a big problem. So talk about growing up. You grew up in Monaca?
Born and raised and still there. Can't take.
Are you an Indian at heart?
Not really.
No? Okay.
Only because I never went to Monaca schools.
Oh, okay. You went to
St. John's, and then Quigley.
Okay.
So, but I mean, I love my town, and now I'm getting involved in trying to help the borough as much as I can on different levels. There's some things I'm involved with. Matter of fact, I just became a member of the Monaca Library Board of Directors. So try to help the Monaca Library stay.
Well, I've family from Monaca. I have friends from Monaca, so I spent a lot of my time in Monaca over the years, and it is a great community.
It's coming back. I think, of course, everybody wants to try to be like Beaver if possible. New Brighton's making a fantastic comeback, I think, fantastically. And now Monaca is going to be doing that. We have some great restaurants. We're going to have a main street refurbishing. That's going to make a big difference. We have a couple developers that are helping buy some of the older buildings and trying to fix them up and bring some businesses to it. So I think Monaca is going to make a nice comeback. We already have made some nice strides. We have concerts in the park during the summer. We have food trucks once a month in downtown Monaca as well. We have a lot of nice things going on in Monaca, but I think you're going to see a big difference. A lot of these river towns as it's kind of funny, the cycle's starting over again, where you had the river towns that were doing great, and then all the big box stores came and the malls came. Then that's killed those. Now it looks like the malls are dying all around the country, and a lot of people want to get that attachment again to nostalgia, to mom and pop, to relationships, which you don't really see too much anymore. So I think our river towns are going to do quite well moving forward.
There's something about a charm of a downtown when you see people, walking, doing their shopping, things like that.
Yeah, I grew up downtown, still live downtown. Matter of fact, we were talking a little bit earlier about the Beaver Falls and the Larry Bruno Foundation. A lot of people don't remember that when he started coaching in Monaca.
Right.
I actually owned the house that he used to live in when he coached in Monaca.
Is that right?
Yeah. So it's kind of my only claim to fame.
He didn't leave any. Well, this was just a few years before Joe Namath.
Right.
So it didn't leave any Joe Namath paraphernalia sitting
nothing
around.
Nothing left there.
So you're going to run for mayor soon? Is that?
I've been asked.
I'm thinking, because I see you heavily involved, and now you have the time on your schedule.
Yeah, I've been asked. I don't know about the time. We have 4 grandchildren the ages of 8 and under. That keeps you hopping, and then the church functions, and of course I got to always keep room for my new love, which we were talking about earlier, and that's pickleball.
Yeah, and you're playing down at Brady's Run.
Yeah, twice a week, and we just meet great people, have great fun, and we're not keeping track of wins and losses. We're just trying to keep our heart going and try not to break an ankle.
And you're playing with another kid from Beaver Falls. You just told me Tony Mendocino.
Tony Mendocino, yes.
I knew Tony well. And he used to be the principal at Center High School.
Correct.
Yeah. So it's all coming together. It's a
coming
small
together.
community, isn't it?
But
Yeah.
like I said, I am trying to help Monaca wherever I can. And one of the things at this point, I don't want to make long-term commitments. I worked 44 years to try to get to retirement. My mom and dad never made it there. When I was 29, I had no parents left. They had both been deceased. And so I said, I'm going to try what I can to see what it's like to be in retirement. And it's actually better than I thought it was going to be. But
you don't get bored every once in a while?
No, not at all.
Well, you're busy.
Yeah, I try to stay busy, but I always just tell people, I'm retired. I don't want to be rehired. So but I do want to help. So there's several nonprofits that give me a call and say, hey, can we just meet and brainstorm a little bit? And I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that. So unfortunately, Cinnamon Crunch Bagels at Panera's is helping me gain weight.
And that's why you play pickleball.
That's true.
Yeah. So do people often ask you, can't we get a store like Taormino's back or O'Keefe's? Something,
Well, that is true. And I guess the only thing you got to do is it's hard to get those types of things. Although we have some cool old-fashioned stores now in Monaca with the Inner Groove Record Store.
Oh yeah,
and Triss's Truffles, a little small pastry shop.
Yeah,
we have the brewery now, Monaca Brewery, which does a great job. And if you haven't gone to Comfortably Yum, it's probably the best restaurant you're going to see in Beaver County.
Where's that located?
Now. It's directly across the street from St. John's Church.
Okay,
it's all homemade pierogi dishes. And the gentleman does a fantastic job. He makes them right there right after you order, and he takes them and does all kinds of things with them. My favorite is he'll take a bowl, put 8 pierogies on the bottom of it, and then put roast beef pot roast and gravy on top of it. And it is delicious.
See, now he's going to be calling you saying, you gave me a plug. Come on over, have some pierogies.
We go there quite often.
Yeah.
It's small.
Is it a catering business?
No.
It's just a
do you
little
remember
restaurant.
the old Celeste bar?
Yes, I do.
That's where it's at.
Okay, all right.
But it's all remodeled. They only have maybe enough seating for maybe 25 people, 30 people.
Yeah.
But they do a lot of DoorDash. Every time I'm there eating, I see like all these people walking in with their phones. Where's my order? Where's my order? So I'd give that one a try.
Okay, and the Kopsack brothers, and they're selling mopeds on the main street.
That's right. That's right.
Doing so many things down there.
So Monaca has got some places that have and the key to a downtown, at least in my opinion, is you need to have some places that are destinations.
Mm-hmm.
You need to give the people a reason to go to downtown Monaca, go to downtown, New Brighton. And I think we have 4 or 5 of those places down with more to come.
Very good. And you talked about what used to be Celeste's Tavern down there. And for a while, there were just maybe tattoo parlors here and there. But that's where Monaca has made the turn.
Yes.
And different businesses are moving in all the time.
They are.
Of course, you're not going to replace a bachelor's furniture.
No, but you never know.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to go there.
Big building's still there.
And there's a lot of things like co-ops that you can put in places like that where you would have vendors, sharing the space.
Right.
And have little shops all on the first floor and then use the second and third floor for offices or for apartments or things of that nature.
What was it like growing up in Monaca?
You know what? That's why on the weekends I watch Leave It to Beaver, because it brings me back to those days.
Yeah.
You went outside as soon as in the summer especially, you went outside and you didn't come in until the street lights were on, as they say.
Yeah.
I mean, you would make it home for dinner and then go back out. But I still remember going to my buddy Willie Honig's place around the corner from my house, or he'd come to my house. You didn't go up and knock on the door. You stood on the sidewalk and said, "Hey, Willie!"
Yeah, right.
and then he'd come out,
Yeah.
And then you just played games. You made up games. I remember saving. You probably remember this. The old bazooka bubble gum.
Sure.
Saving those comics.
Yeah.
And I remember saving enough to send them in to get an umpire balls and strike clicker.
No kidding.
And what we would do, it was so silly, but what we would do is we would just put 2 bricks on the street, and that was home plate. And the pitcher would get 30 or 40 feet away, the other my buddy, and we would just see if you could throw enough to get 3 strikeouts or 3 walks first.
Yeah.
It was silly, but that's what you did.
Do you still have that?
I don't. I wish I did.
I'm sure, thrift stores somewhere, they have that, that kind of thing. Yeah, and you remember, what was a local store that you'd go get a poppin' potato chips at?
Well, there was definitely Taormino's.
Yeah.
I was in prime real estate. I was 1 block away from Dalzell's store on Washington Avenue, and 1 block down the side street from Taormino's. So depending on what I was in the mood for,
Yeah.
Dalzell's had the chocolate pop.
Oh, okay.
Coleman's chocolate.
Coleman's,
pop.
not Yahoo.
No, it was predecessor to Yahoo.
Okay, Yoo-hoo.
And it was good. I remember that.
Oh, okay, very good. I remember, RCs and stuff like
Yes.
that when they used to have the cork inside the lid, and you'd have to scratch it out, and you'd get.
I remember that.
Maybe you'd get it at 25 cents or something like that.
I remember they had. I don't know. Do you remember they used to have a thing? They had the headshots of Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
And they gave you a paper thing, and you would glue them after you peeled off the cork. You would glue them, and then we'd try to fill the whole thing up.
All right. Mike Rubino is our guest. He is the former director of the United Way of Beaver County, very successful at everything that he does. And he's not done yet. He's just retired, but he's got more plans for the future. We'll talk about that and more coming up with Mike Rubino on the Best of Beaver County here on the St. Barnabas Radio Network.
I'm Patty.
And I'm Bob. We're retired, and we live at St. Barnabas in the Village.
We used to have a house.
Lived in it for 40 years.
Raised our kids.
But it became too much. The upkeep, the stairs.
Moving seemed like such a hassle. We didn't even know where to start, so we didn't.
Until we met Cindy at St. Barnabas.
She talked us through our options.
Yeah. And she helped us with our move and all the arrangements.
There was so much stuff. Who knew we had 3 fondue pots?
But she made it easy.
So easy.
Now we enjoy ourselves.
Golf, the pool, new friends, shuttles to where we want to go.
The pub and the food.
So good.
There wasn't a long-term commitment or any large fees.
And they have a healthcare system on campus with doctors if we need it. The kids really like that.
The kids like to come and eat with us.
There's an easier, worry-free way to retire at the Village at St. Barnabas. Come visit us for a free and informative counseling session and personal tour.
I can't believe you waited so long.
I can't believe you waited so long.
Visit stbarnabashealthsystem.com or call 724-443-0700.
It's the Best of Beaver County on the St. Barnabas Radio Network. I'm Mike Romai. Our guest this morning is Mike Rubino. Mike is the former director, now retired, from the United Way of Beaver County. He had a successful 9 years with the United Way of Beaver County, turning the organization around, but he's still involved in organizations. You were telling me beforehand, and I saw this in a bio on you, that you began as a computer operator or
Well, I was more the business side of the business and the salesperson within the store. But yes, I was very blessed to be hired right out of St. Vincent College by Ron Main, who unfortunately just passed away.
Sure.
A lot of folks in Beaver County know him for his visionary businesses and also his involvement in the Larry Bruno Foundation. And so, he started a computer store back in 1981. Now, you think about what was going on computer-wise in 1981. I've been told by more than one person that we were probably one of the first computer specialty stores east of the Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
There was no PCs.
No.
There was no internet. We were selling Atari home computers called the Atari 400 and the Atari 800 and Commodore 64s.
Commodores. I had a Commodore.
And we were competing against TV Parts that was selling Apple IIs. Yeah. So that was the big competition in Beaver County as far as computers. And it was, and we were so excited when you got a computer that had 8K of memory, 8K of memory. But it was fun. But so we started that in 1981. Grew the business, went through the whole thing of bringing through the internet and bringing on the other type of PC compatibles, Microsoft compatible computers. Then we started building our own computers, Second Childhood Computer Workshop computers, and we did very, very well with that. But then the competition, got too big for us. The internet came. Remember, Gateway Computers started selling on the internet.
Yes. Yep.
Then you started getting all these retail electronic stores like Silo and Circuit City, and we just couldn't make any money. No. But then Ron understood that if you wanted to make money in the computer business, you needed to have service, and you needed to have technology support, and I agreed with that. And it got to a point where, I said, all right, that's the area that it needs to go to. I'm not a computer guy. Our retail's starting to dwindle. I have 2 young sons at that time in 1998. I'm ready to move on and take my house off the bank collateral line and move on. So I did that, and Ron's son came into the business, and that just took them all the way to where they're now Quest Tech and have over 100 employees and doing fantastically, and I'm so proud of them.
Right, very good. And so basically Mike Rubino is Beaver County's Steve Zuckerberg or Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs. Yeah,
I
in
wouldn't
that category.
say that.
No.
But,
Do you have any of those old Ataris around?
I wish I did, but
Yeah.
you'd be surprised. I run into people everywhere that still remember. I'm blessed. Remember me. You sold me my first computer, and I still have that, and it still works. So the Atari did make good computers. It's just they had bad leadership at a certain point.
Mike Rubino is with us. You mentioned the church. You went to St. John's as a child, so you put 8 years in
8 years at St.
Catholic
John's,
school.
Yep, and then Quigley Catholic High School. Unfortunately, what really was made me focus on my life when I was 12 years old. I watched my father pass away on our living room floor, and that next day, 2 days after that, I was supposed to be the lector at Mass for the final school Mass on June 12th. My dad died on June 9th. He buried him on June 11th, and I went back to school for that last day to do that lecturing, and ever since then, I've been still a lector in my church. So I've been a lector for 54 years.
That's amazing.
But,
you were able to do that the day after your father passed?
After we buried him, yeah. But that's the strength of our faith. And I was blessed to have, I'm the baby of 4. I actually have a brother that's 80.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was, I guess they had to keep going till they got it right. But he became my father figure. And I remember the only time I cried when I went away to college was when I said goodbye to him.
So you went to St. John's, you went to Quigley, and then
Catholic.
you went to St. Vincent.
Then I went to St. Vincent.
So religion is obviously very important to you.
Catholicism defines me and my wife and religion. And, and I'm sure you're the same way. If we think about the golden rule and helping others and treating others as you would treat yourself, if everybody just lived by that, even 50% of the time, this place would be a better place to be. And then also, to give meaning to your life, you have to, I believe, feel that there's something after this life. And that's why I do what I do.
Yeah, and you've raised your family, you kept your family in Beaver County.
Yeah, my oldest son does live in Pittsburgh. He lives in Manchester. He's a creative director for an agency called Level, doing very, very well. Him and his wife, you might have heard the Arcade Comedy Theater.
Yeah.
They were founders of that 10 years ago. It's under the Cultural Trust, but they are still, the founders. And my daughter-in-law is the programming director for that, and my son does all the graphic work for that.
And your wife, Laura, now retired from the courthouse. She put in how many years?
Not
there?
the courthouse. Never.
No,
worked in a courthouse.
never. Okay, I'm sorry.
She was
She worked
never
for the
a county
county,
employee.
right?
She was
never a county employee?
No, the last
28
28 years she was with Corporation for Economic Development.
Oh, okay.
And very proud of her. She's so well respected. She's my rock.
Uh-huh.
And she's my ticket into heaven because when I met her, she wasn't Catholic.
Uh-huh.
And
okay.
I remember on the third date, I could tell that she was the one I wanted, and I just said, I can't marry somebody that's not Catholic. And she says, I'm all in. And
so she went through the classes.
And she's a better Catholic than I am.
She keeps you in line then.
She's amazing. She's amazing. So very blessed.
So how long have you been married?
It'll be 42 years in May.
Congratulations.
Yeah, 42 years. Actually, she was I worked a summer job on the Manpower program in Beaver County. And when I was at college, it was my summer job, and she was my boss. So,
okay. Well,
so
yeah. That's how you got those, promotions.
I didn't. I only worked 3 months with her, but then after that, it's been a blessing. It's gone. You talk about something going fast. 42 years of our marriage.
Yeah.
It's just been amazing.
God, family, and your devotion to other people, because it seems as though if I look back in your career, in your work life, that you have always done something that has to do with social programs, social aspect of things.
When I left Second Childhood, I was blessed to be asked to go join WQED Multimedia. And I still can't believe I drove to Oakland every day for 8 years. It was brutal. And when you have a 7:30 meeting and you got to leave Monaca at 6 o'clock,
Yeah.
and then you get to that McKees Rocks Bridge and you say, "Oh no,"
Yeah.
But it was there that I really was able to hone my skills, some of my selling skills, but also. That at that time they owned WQED TV, WQED Radio, Pittsburgh Magazine, Pittsburgh Bride Magazine. Then we started, because of my contacts in Beaver County, we started Beaver County Magazine that was inside Pittsburgh Magazine, and then WQED.org. So they had this whole plethora of choices. So it was so cool to create, and you guys know this here, how you can create advertising packages that allow somebody to get their message out. The hard part about the television, though, is you could not sell anything on public TV or public radio.
Right.
So all you could do is
Nonprofit.
present facts, but not have any call to action.
Yeah.
But it was fun being in that iconic building. I have a story that I remember there is that I always, it was really my best 2 minutes that I had at QED in the 8 years I was there. Is I got on the elevator one day, and who was on the elevator with me only was Mr. Rogers.
Oh no.
And on all my sports coats, I don't know if you know about the pin of the baby's feet that's pro-life.
Oh yes.
Okay, I'm pro-life. And so all my suit jackets have the baby's feet pin on it. And of course, I had my suit coat on, and Mr. Rogers had never seen that pin before. And I got to evangelize to him about my pro-life pin.
Okay.
So I'll remember that.
Did you give him the pin?
No, I didn't. I should have.
He might have traded you a pin for a sweater.
I should have. That's right. That's right. I was fortunate enough, though, to win a couple sales awards where I did get a Mr. Rogers watch, and I still have it.
Very good. Very good. Now, spending all that time in Oakland, did you ever eat any of the original hot dogs, the Big O?
I did not.
No,
I did not, because we were sort of near Carnegie Mellon there, and I didn't. I just walked around there a little bit. I didn't go down that.
Yeah,
end. And we were on the road a lot selling.
Yeah,
but it was a great 8 years. It was stressful 8 years, but it was good. But that's actually where I made my best money I ever made.
Right,
was
sure.
there.
Yeah,
And then at that time, I had gotten on the board of directors at Quigley Catholic. Their development director was not doing well, and they needed to raise money. And I actually had an experience on April 5th. I'll never forget this. On April 5th, let me think what year it was. Would have been 2005. It was the funeral of Pope John Paul II. And the same time, do you remember the Terry Schiavo incidents?
Yes, I do.
Where the husband wanted to
pulled the plug.
Yeah, those were on TV at the same time. And I was selling at home that day, making phone calls. I just had this crying spell when I was watching TV. And I took it as a sign that I needed to do something different, that I didn't have to worry about making the money that I was making at QED. And so I went into my manager the next day, talked to my wife. I said, "Honey, I think I'm supposed to do something else." And I'm making six figures. And I went into the managers and I says, "Rick, I'm going to be leaving." He says, "What do you mean?" I says, I'm leaving. I don't think I'm supposed to do this." And I told him the whole story. And he was a Catholic man, a good Catholic man too. And he says, okay, I understand. He said, "But can you at least help me get some substance?" I said, sure, I'll stay as long as you need me to stay. Because when I went there, QED, I had no accounts. When I left 8 years later, I had 705 accounts. And so he hired 3 people to take my account list. Yeah. I trained them all, and then I left, and then I took a job for $40,000 at Quigley to bring their fundraising up, and I brought it from $70,000 to $500,000 a year.
And you've committed your life pretty much to public service since then.
And to God, yeah.
Yeah, it's a special story.
It's
not many people that can attest to that.
I just took a step in faith, and thank God it worked out.
Seems like that's what you're most proud of? Or what are you most proud of?
Yeah, of course.
Faith in God.
You
don't see that a lot today.
No.
A lot of younger people leaving the church and things like that.
Yeah, and it's do what I can do to try to change that too, and you could do it one person at a time.
Well, Bishop Zubik, right? You probably went to school with him.
He went to St. Veronica's. He's a little bit older than me.
Okay.
I'm only 65. He's 75.
Do you have a connection there?
I do.
Because we're trying to get a special dispensation here for Valentine's Day, which is Ash Wednesday. So we're thinking maybe the bishop can give us a little.
Well, you're allowed one big meal of chocolate. and no meat.
This is great. Mike, I always enjoy talking with you. Have been amazed at all the things you do, the hours in the day. Seems like, there's only 24 for all of us, but you pack a lot into it.
Well, again, I've been blessed, and I want to thank you and St. Barnabas first of all, for having me on. I feel very humbled to be considered one of the best of Beaver County, but and what they're doing in this county, and I can't wait to see what they develop around this building.
Mm-hmm. Yep, pickleball courts.
That'd be great. I'm ready.
Mike Rubino, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, sir. God bless.
We appreciate you and everything that you do and your family. Safety and health for everyone.
Thank you. Same
Thank
to you.
you.
Thank you, Mike.
Mike Rubino, former executive director of the United Way of Beaver County, is certainly the best of Beaver County. I'm Mike Romai. We'll meet you again next Thursday for the Best of Beaver County radio show on the St. Barnabas Radio Network.
Thank you for listening to the Best of Beaver